What I'm saying is that racial microaggressions are everyday forms of institutional racism. I'm a sociologist, so I couldn't only look at racial microaggression in that sort of that more micro context. I had to place racial microaggressions within a larger social context, and that's where my work has been headed. And so I would argue that we have this thing called institutional racism that exists within the United States, and you have racial microaggressions as the everyday form or manifestation of institutional racism. You have the perpetrator on one end, and you have the primary recipient on the other end. In this case, a person of color. But you also have secondary recipients. You ever been in a situation where you see something, it's not directed towards you, but you're there and you see it and you're impacted by it? That's why we're not only looking at the primary recipient or the target of these racial microaggressions, but we're also looking at the secondary recipients as well. And again, I study the primary recipient and the secondary recipients. I don't study the perpetrator. And here's one of the reasons why I don't. And you may say, well, that's a cop-out, but I can choose what I want to do, what I want to research. But one of the reasons why, I want to know how she or he is affected by the microaggression, how she responds to the racial microaggression, in what context does it take place, and what types are they. Because if you ask the perpetrator, she'll say, that's not what I meant, right? Or she'll say, but I meant it as a compliment. Or she'll say, you're being too sensitive, right? And this actually comes from not the perpetrator, it comes from our research on the recipients. They tell us this is how people respond to these things. This is data that's been collected over the last, I've been doing this work since about collecting data since about 96, 97. So we've collected a lot of data in this area.